Hey, what's happening, gamers? Welcome back to Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney Trilogy on Nintendo Switch.
Woohoo!
Special thanks to our friends over at Capcom for providing a copy of this game and sponsoring the series. And make sure you guys smash that like button, share this video with your friends, and hit that bell to be notified when more Ace Attorney arrives tomorrow at 3 p.m. Let's jump back into the courtroom.
Let's do
I was
this!
gonna say classroom, that doesn't work.
It's crime fighting time.
All right, so this is Marshall's confession. If you guys were here yesterday, Marshall, we finally cracked the cowboy, so...
Oh, yeah.
I had to do it that day. I couldn't just stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I plan to take out the evidence. And so, let's go back and actually press him on the first statement. Hold it! All right. When you say it, you mean... Do you even have to ask, partner?
Yes.
The SL9 incident. 2 years have passed since that case was closed. It was going to completely end with the transferal that day. Not if I have anything to do with it. That incident's not over. But what did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room? When a case is closed, only that case's lead detective can look through the evidence. I wanted to have a look at it myself one more time. No matter what the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner. That case is mine. But Officer Marshall wasn't in charge of that investigation. Why does he care so much about it?
I know, right?
That day was my last chance. That's why
That's why you what?
I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I plan to take out the evidence. Hold it!
Whoa.
Why did you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman?
This is getting intense.
If I didn't make it to look like Goodman was carrying out the evidence transferal, I'd be arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anywhere. So you did it to fool the security camera. And the detective's ID card. I stole that morning on the incident.
Whoa.
So that really was why Goodman started filling out the lost item report.
Oh.
I returned his ID card. I left it on the floor in the prosecutor's office parking lot. The ID card I found was left there by Officer Marshall. So essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight.
Huh?
What do you mean, partner? I mean the fingerprint-activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open the locker yourself. But he could because a rubber glove just happened to get stuck in that door. That means Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out. Oh yeah? You pulled a knife on him, bro, and tried to drive him off?
Yeah.
Let's just say I was a little surprised. I only planned on being in the evidence room for more than a few minutes. I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that short time. Officer Meekins certainly is one in a million type of person.
Yep.
Mistaking a detective for an intruder and demanding to be shown his ID. I'll have to think a little more about his raise this year. When did Edgeworth get so much influence?
I know, right?
Anyway, he threw himself at me and I ended up cutting him slightly. My bad. I'm sorry it had to turn out that way. With me knocking him down and everything. By the way, what happened to your knife?
But Officer Meekins was right. That guy was suspicious.
Yep. Oh, you mean this one? I don't know what to say. So you knocked the Officer Meekins out and managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on camera. Hold it! So you did your research beforehand. Those who go into the desert unprepared don't live long enough, partner. I didn't think it would make a difference, though. The security tape is erased every 6 hours. If all had gone as planned, no footage would have even been left, because he would have erased it. However, you bloodied your coat in the struggle with Officer Meekins. If someone was in the security room when I came out, the jig would have been up. I opened my locker and stashed it in there. What was Officer Meekins doing at that time? What else? He was sleeping like a baby. So what you're saying is on that day, there wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. But the blood found at the scene certainly indicates a crime took place. What are you, blind? The victim shown at that tape is me, and I'm not dead yet, partner. So you stole the evidence from the locker? Actually, no, I didn't. Why not? When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone.
What?
What? Mr. Edgeworth, where is that evidence? It is still missing, Your Honor.
Whoa!
Detective Goodman's locker was already empty. Someone else stole the evidence?
What?
Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing? Fire away, partner. It's a free country, after all. And just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer. Why did you do this? Stealing a detective's ID, injuring a fellow officer? These are no small offenses. Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. It can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary. Not that salary cuts are ever a valid solution.
Yeah.
Like I said, this isn't your case. This one's mine. And I'll do anything it takes to get an answer I'm satisfied with. The witness has an unusual amount of zeal. Let's hear more.
Yeah, what does he mean it's his case?
I just can't forget about the SL9 incident. You know why?
Why?
But that case was solved 2 years ago, wasn't it? That's right. That's the reason the evidence was stored in the evidence room. Joe Dock was convicted for his crimes. At least I think that's Dark or Darky, I don't know.
Yeah.
One thing I can say for sure is he deserved his sentence.
I think it's Dark.
I remember Mr. Dock's case. It involved serial murders, did it not? I don't intend to complain about how it turned out, but there's something that still bothers me to this day.
Huh?
Something went down at that trial. Something no one will ever talk about. What happened? I don't know. That's why I'm trying to find out. Why is he so concerned with that incident? Maybe I should present him with what I think is the real reason.
The real reason?
I had a feeling he'd wind up here sooner or later. Everyone involved here is related in some way to that case. I better take another look at the files.
So we have a file on why he's related to it somewhere?
Yep.
I had stole the detective's ID, dressed like him.
We're probably gonna have to present, like, the case that, Lana gave us.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, okay, no murder. Can't just forget. So this is the last thing we can do, so we'll present all this.
I guess.
That's my guess. Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about the SL9 incident.
Because it's a big case?
Sounds like you've been sipping too much cactus juice there, partner. Cactus juice? I have the SL9 incident file right here.
I think it's like a health.
The name Marshall is mentioned here. Ugh. In a list of murder victims. Neil Marshall. Are you related to this man? Neil Marshall? Yeah. I'm sure you've heard the name. 2 years ago, he received the same lousy prosecutor award that you got. What? A prosecutor? Must be talking about the King of Prosecutors Award. Now I remember. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He handled the SL9 case before I did. That's right. He was killed. And the case fell into your hands. But what's his relation to you? He was my brother.
Oh.
He was investigating the murders with Damon Gant and then the deputy chief of police.
Whoa.
The group of detectives I was part of worked under them. We were desperate to prosecute the killer.
Whoa.
Oh, there he is.
Oh my gosh.
Joe Dark. My brother fought Dark and was killed in action.
Oh my god.
That was the first time Dark left behind any evidence, and that was all we needed. He was arraigned and incarcerated. The case was finally closed. At least according to the public records. What do you mean? My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Dark. Hang it.
His name was Joe Dark!
Yes, I knew my brother better than anyone. No one could have beaten him in a fight. And that's it? That's your reason for your insane actions? There's more to my brother's death than what the records say there, partner. No matter how much you try to hide it, you can't fool me.
Huh?
Well, at least one thing is for certain. Now we know what happened at the police department on the day of the crime.
It's true.
That was the last day of the SL9 case. Could be reopened, Your Honor. Not satisfied with its resolution, Officer Marshall planned to steal the evidence. Disguising himself as Detective Goodman, he entered the evidence room.
But how did Detective Goodman die?
I have no idea. Officer Meekins confronted him, so he rendered him unconscious and fled. Yes, this mystery has finally been cleared up. No murder took place at the police department that day. The things that happened by chance never cease to amaze. At exactly the same time as the murder at the prosecutor's office, this fake murder was going on at the police department. Chance? It's gotta be more than just that. So if no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means the murder in the prosecutor's office parking lot is the real one.
Oh my god.
Which in turn means only one person could have committed the crime. Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye. But wait! A verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial. Which is why I examined the incident at the police department today. But there's only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday.
Huh?
There yet remained the mystery of the simultaneous murder at the police department. It seems to me this boy's got a draw on you, partner.
Whose side are you on, Marshall?
All the mysteries at the police department have been resolved, no doubt about it. Our sole murderer took place at the prosecutor's office. The only suspect is Miss Skye. And the testimony of one Miss Angel Starr is completely incontestable.
What?
If you have a response, make it single word or less, please. Ugh. Ah! I rest my case.
Wow.
It seems this trial has reached its conclusion. There's no room for doubt. Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I didn't need to waste my time disproving the alleged murder at the police department. Dang it! There's no doubt what I proved today is true. The apparent murder on the security camera tapes really was a fake. What I didn't realize, that would end up proving Lana guilty.
Well, what about the bloody handprints, though?
That was all for something else. Now then, the time has finally come for the verdict. This court finds the defendant.
No!
Who said hold it? What? Where'd you come from?
Your Honor! Wait!
Emma?
The defense has an objection! A scientifical objection!
Scientific?
Right!
What do you mean, right? Mr. Wright, are you this girl's guardian? Your Honor, in a sense?
Please, Your Honor, all I'm asking is for a minute of your time. Please hear me out. Mr. Edgeworth, please.
I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I'll give you 3.
What? I was kind of in shock. I mean, finding out the SL9 incident referred to the Joe Dart killings.
Now that she mentions it, the name of both Sky Sisters were in that file.
But that's when I figured it out. I mean, what Officer Marshall was trying to do that day. So I knew his fingerprints had nothing to do with the crime. That left only one thing, the other handprint.
You mean the traces of blood found on Detective Gumshoe's locker? But no fingerprints were found in it, right?
No, but I figured if I examined it scientifically, I'd be sure to find a clue. So I ran over there and I looked at it again.
So did you find something?
No.
What?
Sorry, I guess I'm not too much of a scientific investigator after all.
Well, at least you said scientific right this time.
Thanks.
Is that all?
Please don't be mad. I'm just a high school student.
And I'm just an attorney.
But Mr. Wright, these traces of blood are the only clue that we have. If we can't find something wrong with them, please, Mr. Wright, you're a professional after all. If anyone can save Lana, it's you.
Me? Oh boy. Time's up. Now then, Mr. Wright. With regard to the incident at the police department, does any reasonable doubt remain? It appears the defense is troubled by the other blood mark. Okay.
Wait, but why did she take the stand? That was weird.
I have no idea. Because this case is never gonna end, Amber, that's why. Looking at the floor plans, a handprint, not a footprint, was discovered around here. Is there a problem with this?
Mr. Wright! I'm sorry, I can't be of more use. But still, if you can't find anything wrong with that blood mark, Lana will be...
Please answer my question, Mr. Wright. We don't have all day. I tee off in 20 minutes.
How is Emma helping at all?
Yes, Your Honor. If I ever needed to concentrate, it's now.
We have to get the judge to his golf game.
I know, right? What could be wrong with that handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker? Could there be something I'm missing?
What about testing for DNA evidence?
I object. I don't know. This handprint left at the crime scene clearly shows a contradiction.
Dun dun dun!
The only thing that seems to clear is your grasping at straws, Mr. Wright. You've been staring pretty intently at those floor plans. Tell me, is there a problem with them? Yes, this is strange. Take a good look at these floor plans. Something is missing. Missing? You mean something hasn't been drawn on there? Yes, something that when drawn will completely change the meaning of the blood mark. What?
Huh?
Let us pray the defense isn't simply trying to buy time. Very well, Mr. Wright. With all the evidence here, there's got to be something I can use.
Well, I always felt like there should have been more blood if it was a bloody handprint.
Right. The question is, which item can prove something is missing in the floor plans?
Oh my gosh.
The badger?
What? The glove? Maybe there was more blood under the glove.
No, I remember this case was really weird. I really think it's supposed to be the badger.
The badger? What?
I don't remember. I'm just going with my gut instinct, okay?
Gosh, oh my gosh. I can't believe this.
What about that piece of plywood? The blue badger, mascot of the police force. Defender of truth, guardian of proof. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. Please look at the floor plans. I know it's kooky, but it's the badger.
Maybe the badger had blood on him and we painted over it?
Please look at the floor plans of the crime scenes. The blue badger is not here. So watch what happens when we put him in.
What?
This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime.
Wait, it's the blue badger's handprint?
He did it! Well, what? That's right. So long as a blue badger is dancing here, it would be impossible to place a handprint at this spot on the locker. I told you it was something crazy.
But
what?
I don't understand anything that's going on right now. Why wouldn't you just move it to the side?
So that means, just what exactly does that mean?
I have no idea.
It means it can't be done.
What are you saying? Blood traces were undeniably found on that locker.
Don't look at me. I didn't put it there.
Mr. Wright, think it through scientifically.
I don't want to. Emma.
On that afternoon, Officer Meekins was the one who brought the blue badger to the evidence room, right? After he put it down, it would be impossible to leave a handprint on the locker.
So the handprint happened before. So that means this blood mark was left before the blue badger was brought in. Yeah, that's common sense.
Just one moment. I will not allow such far-fetched balderdash in my courtroom.
Boulder Dash.
It may sound far-fetched, Your Honor, but it's the only possible explanation.
Dun dun dun.
On February 21st, in the police department evidence room, blood was spilled not once, but twice.
But how?
One time was captured on this tape, taken by the security camera. Officer Meekins cut his hand, from which a trivial amount of blood fell. The problem is the other time.
What?
Yeah, the other time.
I'm so confused.
Someone bled prior to the struggle shown on this tape. It had to have been Detective Goodman when he was really murdered.
What?
That's ridiculous. I refuse to accept your absurd claims, defense.
Oh my gosh.
The murder portrayed in the security tape has been proven to be a fake. That is true. However, that doesn't explain the blood mark found on the locker. Wow.
Oh my gosh.
So then, assuming this murder you prompt really happened, when did it take place? I demand you show evidence that proves when it occurred. When did the first incident occur?
Whoa, before 5:15. But wouldn't it have been in the security tape?
To summarize the defense's claims, that prior to the Officer Meekins being cut by Jake Marshall, who was posing as Detective Goodman, another incident took place in that very same group.
Wow.
That's right. The blood mark on the locker proves this.
Very well, then tell us about this locker. When did the first incident occur, as Miss Edgeworth said? Proof must be presented.
A lot of P's. Proof that shows when the murder took place. There's only one piece of evidence that can show that.
Huh?
Now then, will the defense please present its evidence that shows when the first crime took place?
Oh, it would have been before, what's his name, brought in the...
Do we have more than one ID card?
Oh.
We only have one ID card.
One ID card, and we have that ID card list, though.
Let's go with this.
Okay.
This is the proof. It's quite simple, you see. If it's so simple, then don't get it wrong. Huh?
It was an acceptable excuse. Why wouldn't need police? What?
The first crime took place before the blue badger was brought to the room, right? Say, when was the blue badger actually brought there anyway?
Don't we? Oh, you were right.
Don't we have a bunch of chart with or something?
Yeah. Proof that shows when the murder took place.
Oh, yeah.
There's only one piece. Okay, so it's the ID list.
So that was when he brought it in.
Will the defense please present its evidence? What shows the first crime?
You're correct, Amber. I was off.
Oh, it's okay.
I was close. I mean, it was ID something, so this is the ID record. If the crime took place inside the evidence room, then the killer would have had to enter it. And in order to do so, an ID card would have been required.
An ID card? Oh! The ID card record!
Officer Meekins brought the Blue Badger panel into the evidence room at, let's see here, 4:50 p.m. If the crime took place before that time, then it would be 4:40.
4:40! Wow!
Edgeworth committed the crime?
Miles Edgeworth? Just what have you done?
I never would have figured you had the nerve, boy. Drop the act, witness. It doesn't take a lot of thought to figure out it couldn't have been me.
Nope. I ain't getting it. I'm afraid I don't understand either.
It's clear from the luminal test that the blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, both Officer Meekins and Marshall failed to notice the blood. That means the blood from the first crime was wiped away by the real murderer. I would have just had 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry his body away, and clean up the blood. Unfortunately, that's physically impossible.
That would mean the crime must have taken place before Mr. Edgeworth entered into the evidence room.
Let's look at the chart again. So 420. There's only one other number, and that's all sevens. Talk about a lucky number.
But wait, that doesn't make any sense. How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room?
Since there's no record of his card being used beforehand, he must have entered along with the real murderer.
Huh?
That's the only plausible explanation. He went in with 77777.
Yeah.
Mr. Edgeworth, please look into this ASAP.
But where's the videotape of that?
Find out whose ID number is 7777777 and 7.
That's 17 too many, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I'm unable to look up the owner of that ID card, at least at present. What?
Huh?
Explain yourself, son. The ID number belongs to someone with a rank of captain or higher. Someone who is a so-called executive officer. We don't have any authority to inquire into such a person's identity.
It's a court of law.
Yeah, but that's ridiculous. Just how? I'm not finished talking, Mr. Wright. There is one situation in which can be granted such authority.
If an official charge filed against an executive is accepted.
An official charge? You're all alike, aren't you? With all your cover-ups and your forgeries. That's how the prosecutor's office operates. Wow.
Wow.
I take pride in my work, Officer Marshall. I would appreciate it if you would keep your slander to yourself. Slander, is it now? All right. Let me ask you a question there, son. Yes. Not to you, to her, the defendant sitting over there. Your own little executive. Lana? Don't be stupid. She's being charged with a murder. Of course we've looked up her ID number, and it's not the sevens. Don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I want to ask. All I want to know is one thing about that incident.
The SL9 incident?
Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. In that trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence?
Oh my gosh.
Do you need the witness to repeat his question, Chief Prosecutor?
I heard him fine, Mr. Edgeworth.
2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for that trial. At the time,
Occasionally, we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least, I did.
Uh-oh.
Lana! I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. But before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by the law.
Defendant, just what are you saying?
I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. During that trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence in the court? Can you look me, an investigator in that crime, in the eye and say that you did?
Chief Prosecutor, you didn't!
I don't have to, Officer Marshall.
Why won't you answer him?
Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order for him to get the verdict that he deserved. But Lana! even if it involved forging evidence.
Whoa.
What?
The judge is like, well, you're going to jail now. See? That's what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen of the court. No. No!
Wait, so that guy was put...
Order! Order!
executed on false evidence.
Lana's remarks caused such a stir. The chaos in the courtroom could not be quelled. The conclusion of the trial would have to wait until the following day.
Oh my gosh.
Alright, now this is getting interesting.
Why did this happen in the first episode?
I know, right?
So, like,
It's kind of crazy.
why did we have to wait so long for it to get interesting?
Alright, February 24th, 312. Wright Company Law Offices.
I'm so sorry, Mr. Wright. I'm sorry for what my sister said. Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order for him to get the verdict that he deserved.
Wow.
I didn't know. I never knew that the SL9 incident was just another name for the Joe Dark killings.
Sounds like everyone's heard about these killings but me.
Lana wanted Dark convicted so badly. That's why she used me. That's why she used what happened to me.
What do you mean, what happened to you?
It's all there in the file. Joe Dark's last victim was prosecutor Neil Marshall. When he murdered Officer Marshall's brother, he left behind an incriminating piece of evidence.
But what did you have to do with those killings, Emma?
On the night Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered, Joe Dark tried to kill me.
What? He tried to kill you?
Officer Marshall's brother, Neil, was only trying to save me.
So that means you...
Yes, I was a witness in the Joe Dark trial.
I didn't see that one coming. Whoa, alright.
It happened 2 years ago. It was right about this time of the year, too. There was a terrible thunderstorm that day, unusual for the season. I was alone in my sister's office. We were planning to eat dinner together when she finished her work. Then suddenly, this terrifying man came bursting into the office.
Joe Dark.
It seemed like he was running with someone. He pulled out a knife and screamed at me. I didn't know what was going on. Just then, Prosecutor Marshall showed up.
Jake Marshall's brother.
Joe Dark tried to take me hostage, but before he could, Mr. Marshall tackled him. Then...
What happened?
I'll never forget it. Lightning struck and the lights went out. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning flashed outside the window, lighting up the office for an instant. What I saw then burned a permanent picture in my mind. I can see it right now.
A permanent picture?
I don't remember the moment when Dark stabbed Mr. Marshall.
So you weren't able to testify about that?
No, I was only asked about when I was attacked. That must be why Lana... She made up the crime!
Made it up? You mean provided bogus evidence?
The prosecutor's office wanted that guilty verdict so badly! Lana forged the evidence and Mr. Edgeworth used it!
Edgeworth?
Yes, but I'm sure he didn't know anything about it! He couldn't have known he was being given false evidence! Even so, that's when it all started. The rumors about Mr. Edgeworth, I mean. It's all my fault. If I could have just testified properly, none of this would ever have happened.
So it's true. Even though he may not have known it, Edgeworth really was involved in falsifying evidence.
After that case ended, Lana was never the same. She became cold, like she is today.
She must have not been able to face up to what she did, especially not to her sister. Alright, permanent picture. What did you see in the instant that crime occurred?
Dark knocked down Mr. Marshall and raised his knife.
Neil Marshall was stabbed right in front of this poor girl?
I don't remember what happened after that. Apparently, I passed out. When I came to, Lana was cradling me in her arms.
Poor Emma, you've been through so much.
I couldn't bring myself to testify about that incident.
Testify.
Testify about that instant. Oops. I tried, but the words just couldn't come out. I drew a picture, but it wasn't any good.
2 years ago, you must have been 14. That's understandable.
Oh, she blames herself for everything.
Hmm.
Once it was all over, I made up my mind. I decided that when I grew up, I'd become a scientific investigator, and then I want to be able to fight crime with my testimonies, and find the evidence to make an airtight case. That way Lana would never have to forge any...
I see. I think I'm finally starting to understand what makes Emma tick. But there's still something that bothers me about that crime. Something puzzling. There's something that's puzzling me, Emma.
What is it?
You said you were in Lana's office at the time, right?
That's right.
Why then would a serial killer come running in there? Not only that, but he was being chased by a prosecutor?
Oh, there's no mystery there. Joe Dark had been taken in for questioning that day.
Taken in for questioning? You mean by the police?
Of course! This happened at the police department. He tried to run away halfway through the interview and fled into my sister's office.
Why did he run all the way over to your sister's office?
Because the detective offices and the questioning room are right across from the elevator.
What? Across from the elevator? But Lana was the chief prosecutor, wasn't she?
No, silly. Didn't I tell you? 2 years ago, Lana was a detective.
What?
She was the best in the entire force.
Nani? That's news to me.
After the Joe Dark case, she was transferred to the prosecutor's office and made chief prosecutor.
Lana used to be a detective? I'd better have another talk with her. Oh, man. Okay, this is what we've been waiting for, ladies and gentlemen. Things have finally started to get interesting. But that is going to do it for today.
Aww.
New discoveries have been made today, and this makes the case a lot more exciting for us, finally. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you at 3 p.m. for the continuation of Rise from the Ashes. And come back later today on KwingsLetsPlays for a video on something else. Until we meet again, God bless and happy gaming. Thanks so much for watching.